We are heading to BPN.
But we're right now on the other side of the world talking to my dream company. Maddie said we can call off the wedding because this is the coolest day of our life.
What do you mean we're just at the BPN HQ?
Man, what the hell?
Would love to offer you a spot as BPN Athlete on the roster.
Oh my god. What do you mean, bro?
It was so clear from the first time we met.
Bro.
So, I'm a BPN Athlete now.
Oh my god.
Well, if you didn't already know, now you know. I'm officially BPN's newest athlete on the roster. So you're probably wondering, how do we get here? And I'm going to kind of take you through the whole journey of how I became a BPN athlete, because I've gotten lots of questions, because I'm sure there's lots of people out there who also want to be a BPN athlete. Like myself, it's been a dream for a long time, and I've spoken very openly about there's lots of brands that I align with and I like, but none more so than BPN. And if you were to ask me at the start of the year, like, you can work with any brand in the world, any company, there's no limitations, who would you choose? And I would choose BPN, which is no shade to any other brands I work with, but I was just most drawn to their performance nutrition, the culture they had, the values they had, the messaging they had, the team they have, and I just was like, I just wanted to be a part of it. So I first heard about BPN about 3 years ago when I was in the peak of my CrossFit career, and I was very intrigued for multiple reasons about mainly Nick himself as the leader of the brand. It's his YouTube channel that kind of drew me in, and Maddie and I go for a family Christmas down to her farm in Victoria, and it's a 10-hour drive. And on the drive one time, she was driving and I was on my phone, and I just stumbled across one of his YouTubes and I started watching it, and then I very much enjoyed it and kind of started deep diving and going back and watching older and older videos and learning more about this guy, Nick, and this brand and what they were doing. And I was just very intrigued by it. I was intrigued by the concept of running marathons, but also trying to stay jacked at the same time and lifting heavy. I was intrigued by, it made me interested in the endurance space for the first time ever, and it made me interested in the products that they were making. I wanted to try them, want to utilize them, and see how they could affect my performance. So that was about 3 years ago, but I also was so locked in on CrossFit that I knew that running marathons wasn't aligned with my goals. So I kind of just like put it to the back of my brain and still like followed along and was a fan of the brand and the channel, but I just like, I couldn't do that type of training. And over this time in particular, when I was looking up and learning from Nick from more of a leadership standpoint, and how he was leading his brand and finding ways how I could also possess similar leadership qualities and lead my brand and my business. And so that was kind of my first introduction to the brand. And then at the start of this year, I had shoulder surgery and decided not to compete in CrossFit for the year. And during my time away from CrossFit, I wanted to run a marathon. I wanted to start doing some running and do something different, because now I had the chance to do something different. I wasn't going to compete, so it wasn't like the running was going to take away from my sport. I literally had the chance to do whatever I wanted for the next 12 months, and I wanted to pursue the endurance space. And then by doing that, my social media grew a little bit. I started prioritizing storytelling a bit more on multiple different platforms, as opposed to just basically being a full-time athlete as a CrossFit athlete. My platform started to grow. I started to gain a bit of traction, and then I got in touch with BPN for the first time and had a chat earlier this year. And that was the first time I guess I was on their radar, and first time we kind of spoke about what it would look like if we were to work together one day. At this point in time, I'm pretty clear about manifestation and like the law of attraction. And so I'm very, if you want something, you kind of speak it into existence and be very clear about what your goals are, and then you kind of don't wait for them to happen, you kind of try and make them happen. And so I've got a vision board, a list of goals that I want to kind of tick off and achieve, and one of the goals on my list that I put on at the start of this year or the end of last year was to become a BPN athlete one day. not for the fame, not for free supplements, not for any other reason than like that was like my version of kind of being a professional athlete. That was like the top tier, my number one brand I wanted to work with, the best of the best, and I just wanted to be a part of what they were creating. And so that was the goal. I put it out there, I spoke it kind of into the universe, and then I worked really hard to try and make that happen. Not necessarily like that wasn't my be-all, end-all goal. I think that's the beauty of this partnership, is that I was very much being genuine and organically myself, and that just very much coincided with the same values that they possess as a brand, and that's why this partnership is what it is. Okay, so start of the year, I start doing more endurance training. I start documenting more of my training. My followers are growing slowly, which is really good. We started the YouTube channel to have a bit more of an in-depth, longer form audience along with our podcast, and that was allowing me to build a much deeper connection with my audience, which was good, and people were resonating with that more and more and getting to know me in a deeper level, which made that kind of connection stronger, and it feels like we actually have a relationship, which has been like the best thing I've ever done. And then from that, I qualified for High Rocks Worlds. And so that was a really cool chance to go to America for the first time ever. I've never been to the States, and that was in Chicago, but I was like, I really would love to go to Austin. I feel very drawn to Austin. That's where the BPN HQ and all of the team are. A lot of the athletes are there. So Maddie and I spoke about it, and we spent a week in Austin before Chicago to do a bit of a training camp and a lead up to High Rocks. We didn't really I had hopes to try and meet with some of the team over there and potentially just have an introduction. I've spoken to in particular Tony before. He was my point of contact, and we'd had conversations, but it was very early days. I had no expectation of becoming an athlete, but I just still also wanted just to put myself in that environment. We say environment is everything, and if I want to be a BPN athlete and I'm looking up to this brand, I want to see what they're about and actually go to that environment. So we did that, and we were just going to train hard on our own for the week. But on the very first day, we were we couldn't check into our hotel room yet, so we put our bags on the ground level with the receptionist, and we were waiting on the roof for like a couple of hours, just getting some sun until we could check in. And in that time, we just literally ran into Lucy Davis, who's a BPN athlete, on the roof. And I was just like, couldn't believe it. I was like, what do you mean? She's in the same Airbnb that we're staying at. And I was like, I think I'm just going to go introduce myself and say hi. And Maddie was like, no, don't bother her. I'm like, I'm not going to be annoying and ask for an autograph. I'm just like going to say, hey, I know you're doing High Rocks Worlds next week. I'm also doing it too. I've been talking with some of the BPN team as well. I'm a big fan of the brand. It's lovely to meet you. If you want to train together, I'd love to train whilst I'm out here. And so I did that. And she was so lovely, so welcoming. We had a really nice chat. And then, I just said, if you want to work out later in the week, let me know. No pressure. And we didn't organize anything then. But then a few days later, she messaged me saying, hey, I'm going to do a High Rock session tomorrow. Would you like to come? And I was like, absolutely. And then if you've watched any of the other YouTubes, you would have seen the workout we did together, which was just so much fun. It was so hot. We did it outside because she wanted to do it outside, which she's a savage. But it was just like the best. And we formed a really good relationship in such a short period of time. And so that was just the first kind of coincidence that was like amazing. And then the next day, I went for a run 15 minutes outside of Austin with Annabelle the first day she arrived, and when we were there, we ran into Ian Fons 15 minutes outside of Austin at it was 9 a.m. in it could have been anywhere, and we also ran into Ian, and he was just running out there, and I was just like, another BPN athlete. What are the chances that I've literally bumped into two of these athletes? Just went up, introduced myself, had a chat to him. He'd seen that I'd worked out with Lucy the day before as well. We kind of spoke about that, and he said, if you want to get a workout in at any point, let me know. And I was like, hells yeah, let's get a workout in. And at that point, I was kind of talking to Tony. We were going to have coffee later in that week. Again, no expectations, but we ended up, he said, why don't you come to the HQ, we can give you a bit of a tour. If you've seen that YouTube, that was probably one of the coolest ones we've ever done. And then, he gave us the full tour, behind the scenes access, said we could bring our cameras as well, which was just so generous of him. And then he invited us out for lunch after that, and we were just like, what is even happening right now? This is the coolest shit ever. finished that day. Then Fonz came out. We had that push workout, so we got to work out with him. That was like so fun as well. And I was just like, man, I feel like this is kind of meant to be. It like all the stars were aligning. It was like, it's hard to kind of explain. That it was almost felt like it was destiny a little bit. Anyway, we finished that day. We then go to High Rocks Worlds, have Worlds in Chicago, but we've just like, yeah, there was just no expectation that that anything would happen from there. I just was so grateful and lucky to have the opportunity to meet some of these people that I look up to. And then the day we were, or the second last day after High Rocks was over, we're about to fly home. On the Sunday, Tony messaged me and said, hey, can we have a quick call tomorrow morning before you fly out? And me and Maddie like, oh, this could be really good or really bad. But again, like, we had no idea, and we'd met him one time, like, I don't know, but I'm sure Maddie's going to already has put some of the clips in. But he gave me the call and said he spoke to the team, and he was like, yeah, I'm sure you'll see. I don't want to have to recite what he said, but it just seemed that, like, yeah, we were a good fit, and he thought that I was worth the gamble, and thought that I was a good representation of the brand and could be a part of the team. So yeah, it's really kind of hard to explain in words how it all happened, but I guess it kind of just felt like it was meant to be, and I truly feel like I found like a second family with the BPN team, and I just could not be more thankful and grateful for the opportunity to represent them and be part of the team moving forward. So all this was happening 6 weeks ago, end of June, when we were over there for High Rocks Worlds. And so we found out, but I couldn't really tell anyone, which was just like such a hard secret to keep. We were kind of teasing little bits, but yeah, we just couldn't tell anyone. And then we were like, we were speaking to the team, like, all right, how are we going to announce this? Do we want to announce it from Australia? Do you want to announce it from America? And the way, like, if you're going to do something, do it well. Don't half-ass it. So I was like, nah, let's do it properly. So we went back to the States 6 weeks later, and we had the chance to shoot with all of the media team there. And I won't go into too much detail because there'll be much more content coming out from this most recent trip in July. But it was a dream come true. To, yeah, kind of tell my story to their community. Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to just like let you guys wait and see, but there'll be much more content to come from that on my channel, but on their channel as well. I'm very excited to see how they put it all together and what comes of it, because I feel like they are truly the industry leaders in the fitness space when it comes to content and creating, and a lot of what we do, a lot of what a lot of fitness channels and influencers and brands do is they look to BPN as the gold standard. So yeah, I can't wait to see what content they put together. But yeah, it was an amazing trip. And then in this trip, it was incredible that I got the chance to actually meet Nick. I didn't get the chance to meet him 6 weeks ago, and to be quite frank, I was surprised that they offered me the spot on the roster without meeting him, because if it was my business at Be All In, like, I wouldn't sign anyone without meeting them and kind of feeling like I know them inside and out. If I was going to let them represent my brand and represent my name. So yeah, I guess he has complete trust in his team, which is again another leaf I can take out of his book in terms of his leadership, that he has complete trust and faith in his team, and that's something I'm going to be better at that. Relinquishing control sometimes and trusting my team, but it's also a big deal. Like, they've only got, I think it's 15 athletes worldwide. I'm now only the second Australian in the whole country who gets a chance to represent the team. So it's a big deal. It's not just like every second person has a code. Yeah, it's a massive deal to represent his name and something he's worked so hard for. So I very much did want to meet him and not like prove my worth and value, but like I kind of do in a way. Yeah, anyway, it was just amazing to meet him. He is someone who I've looked up to a lot for reasons I've explained in the past, and like, yeah, he was, I guess, exactly what I expected him to be, if not better. He just was like, had such high energy, was so charismatic, you're so drawn to be around him. The way his team speaks about him and look up to him and respect him as the boss and the leader. There's just no second guessing his leadership and direction, and yeah, if I can be half the leader that he is for his brand, that I can be for my brand and my community, then I feel like I'm doing a good job. So that was like the cherry on top, the dream come true. And he's in the middle of Ironman prep right now, so we didn't get the chance to do any training together. But once that race finishes up in the start of November, hopefully we'll be back very soon, and we'll get the chance to link up, run some miles together, get some lifts in. But yeah, that was the cherry on top. So I guess you're kind of thinking, what is next? And man, this is the beginning, only the beginning. We're truly just getting started. I feel like my whole kind of life changed when I started posting more frequently on social media, but more in particular when I started the YouTube channel. So the YouTube, and if you're watching this right now, you have given me this opportunity to work with brands like BPN. And so yeah, I just like am incredibly grateful for all the support from you. And yeah, it just reinforces me to keep doing what's working, and the YouTube is what's working. So you can expect to see lots of content. We're posting at least once a week. We're trying to post twice a week, every Wednesday, every Sunday here in Australia. So yeah, we're trying to be super frequent, and we've got so much to tell. So it's just finding enough time to capture it and edit it and then put it out. But we're all guns blazing for this. I've got 2 more races on the horizon. I've got the half marathon, which I'm going to try and run a fast half marathon. 1:26 is going to be my goal for the half marathon on November 1st, and then I'm doing my first ever triathlon the very next day, an Olympic distance tri. I'm trying to crack this sub 3. The sub 3 marathon is like the big overarching goal. That's like the next thing on my list I really want to tick off. But in the meantime, I want to try and like keep getting faster at my running, and then dabble in the triathlon space. So once I do tick off this sub 3, which is going to happen, it's only a matter of time, then I might dabble in the triathlon space a bit more. You can kind of read into that of what you will, but yeah, I'm just so hungry. I'm so motivated to I feel like a complete beginner in the endurance space, because I am, and yeah, I'm just keen to keep learning and yeah, investing in myself as an athlete, investing in my platforms to help other people, educate, inspire, and then also hopefully represent the brands I get the chance to work with to the best of my ability. So in this new endurance space, I'm now supported by the best of the best. I've got the best products at my fingertips, and gives me the chance to really chase my goals, with the best possible opportunity to tick them off. So yeah, we are truly only just getting started. Thank you so much for all of your support so far, and don't go anywhere, because there is so much more to come.